Assalamualaikum, selamat petang. Apa khabar semua?
Khabar baik, Doktor. Salam, Doktor.
So, macam mana dengan proposal doing? Kenapa korang tak nak buka kamera? Cuba nak buka kamera kan? Okay, so sambil menunggu kawan-kawan semua masuk. You can just open your mic and if you want to open your camera pun lagi bagus.
Okey, Doktor.
Apa malu buka kamera
Malu.
Ha? Nak jadi artis mana boleh malu depan kamera. Okay, we're still waiting for others to join. But let me change the layout. Ikut makan. Kelas ni ada 24 orang. Supposed to be. Okay, once again, Assalamualaikum, selamat petang, good afternoon.
Waalaikumsalam, Doktor.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam, Doktor.
Semua sihat?
Alhamdulillah, sihat.
Alhamdulillah.
Cuba,
Sihat.
why don't you open your camera?
Sekejap, Doktor.
Muka tak siap, Doktor.
Ha?
Muka tak siap.
Muka tak siap biasa. Kalau siap tu
Ajar
luar
selalu
biasa.
tak siap ke?
Itulah kan, alah. Alhamdulillah. Terus kejap. Okay then, maybe some of your friends will join later, so please make sure you verify your attendance at your future and at the same time, please fill in the Google form. Okay, so I hope you can see me well. Boleh nampak saya?
Boleh.
Okay, kamera clear?
Clear.
Kalau kamera orang terus clear.
Kamera sendiri rosak, Doktor.
Sengaja korang. Entah sampai habis kelas lah tak nampak muka korang ni. Okay, hopefully you're still working on your proposal. Okay, please make sure that you already download relevant materials, journals, and articles for you to read. Okay, and make sure you fulfill according to the deadline given. Okay, so today we're going to continue the lecture. Okay, so we're going to go with chapter 2, which is on the identification of problem ataupun problem statement. Okay, so with that, allow me to actually share with you the slides. Okay, let me check. Okay, let me. Okay, hopefully I managed to share the slide. Okay, can you see the slide now? Can you see the PowerPoint?
Nampak.
Okay,
nampak.
okay. Why I need you to confirm on the view is that because this morning when we have class with the other group, suddenly my Google Chrome beta did not work. So I've lost the connection. And okay. Okay, now we go to the second chapter, which is formulating a research problem. Okay, if you happen to have any problem or any question, you can just throw it to me. Okay, anytime during the presentation, you can interrupt me. Okay, so that I can actually directly answer whatever that is bugging you throughout the preparation of your proposal and of course the topic as well. Okay, so what we are going to discuss today, okay, so hopefully at the end of the chapter, you'll be able to understand the importance of formulating research problem, source of research problem, and considerations selecting research problems, specific issues, okay, steps in formulating research problem, and how to formulate research objective. Okay, so these are the table of content. So as I mentioned just now, so we'll be looking at the research problem, or we call to come up with a problem statement, and how to go about doing the problem statement. Okay, but here and there will be a little bit of slight changes or slight interpretation of the problem statement, because we need to actually what we call tone it to according to your level of study. Okay, nevertheless, when we talk about the problem statement or problem identification, research problem, so every research need to have this, but the degree of difficulty is different. Okay, as like this class, the research method class, so this is not, I hope that this is not the last class for research method that you will attend, because if you decide to go for your master's level or your PhD, so you need to actually again sit in the research method class. So hopefully with the opportunity given to me this semester in teaching you research method, you can get a lot out of this 14 weeks. Okay, let us see what do you mean by the research problem. Okay, you have to understand one thing when we talk about research problem and the degree of difficulty that apply or implies to your level. So basically, we don't expect you to actually come up with a gap of study or to actually really dwell into the issues, okay? Because the definition of the problem itself is very much in vague, okay, according to the level of study. So what is actually a research problem? Okay, so the focus will be the central aim of this chapter is to detail the process of formulating research problem. Research problem is very important because why? It is like what we call the focal point of your study or the focal point of your research study. Okay, meaning that if your problem statement is clear, so therefore people will easily comprehend whatever that you want to offer in your research paper or your thesis. Okay, let us see what do we mean by the research problem. Okay, sometimes when we discuss this with students, okay, you tend to actually misinterpret. When we mention it is a problem statement, so you guys absolutely will go and look for a problem. But in research, there are so many things that constitute a research problem. There are so many perspectives. Okay, for example, you might come across some issues that you think worthwhile to be studied. Okay, even though it is not a problem per se, okay, but it is worth to be studied. So therefore, you will undertook that topic as your research topic, and that is your research problem, the issue. So any question that you want to answer and any assumption or assertion that you want to challenge or investigate can become a research problem or research topic for your study. So let us put it like this. Okay, I always I always inform the student that whenever we come to this discussion of a research problem or problem statement, it does not necessarily be a problem per se. Bukan masalah semata-mata. Okay, it might be an assumption, it might be an assertion, it might be a proposition, it might be something that you want to know more. You want to understand it. You want to know why people behave in such a way. So even though, for example, we talk about a problem, for example, in an organization. Take an example of absenteeism. Employee did not turn up to work. Okay, so we can see it as a problem, and we can also see it one of the area to explore and understand why employee is absent. So that is what we meant by when we try to actually incorporate a problem statement. It does not necessarily be a problem. Tak semestinya masalah. Okay, selagi ada isu ataupun sesuatu perkara yang boleh menimbulkan persoalan, okay, you want to know more, you nak tahu lebih lanjut, you nak tahu lebih mendalam, you want to explore, okay, so that can be part of the issues that constitute a problem statement or your research problem. Jadi jangan bila kata, okay, where is your problem? Okay, terus you cari masalah. No. Okay, only in the theoretical approach kita akan sebut there is a problem statement. But it doesn't necessarily have to be a problem per se. Bukan problem semata-mata. Selagi you feel that it is worth, selagi you rasa macam berbaloi untuk you kaji, untuk you lebih mendalami, lebih memahami, jadi you boleh ambil tajuk itu sebagai tajuk kajian ni for your research. Okay, the importance of formulating a research problem, like I mentioned to you just now, we don't expect you to really dwell into this development of a research problem or come up with a problem statement which is very much solid or concrete, but you have to understand this is one of the important element in a research. So if your research problem is clear, then your research should have no problem, because the research problem actually, or the problem statement that you post in your chapter 1 or your thesis, okay, will be a focal point of the study, and it will also act as a point of destination, the outcome. Okay, jadi bila kita letakkan problem statement tu, kita nak orang faham, okay, this is the issue that kita nak cuba kaji, dan kenapa isu tu penting untuk dikaji. Okay, so in lieu to the importance, okay, as for the degree level, okay, we are not expecting you to really dwell into some issues that you want to actually study, as long as you learn how to conduct research in a proper manner. Okay, tetapi untuk masters, for masters and PhD level, yes, your problem statement need to be concrete, need to be solid. Okay, it's not, okay, it cannot be argued. So that is the different level of testing or what they call problem that we are looking at. So untuk degree level, kita maafkan, kita boleh terima macam what we did this semester is that I already gave you the issue at hand. Okay, something to do with online learning, something to do with open distance learning. So that will be the issue that you dwell into. That is supposed to be the outcome, the phenomenon that you want to look at. All right. Please interrupt me. If you have any question, please do not hesitate. Just ask me, and I will try to actually work on that question first before we proceed.
Doktor, saya tak ada soalan, tapi ni ada student WhatsApp cakap nak masuk student, doktor tak accept lagi.
Tak boleh masuk?
Dia dah tekan, doktor tak accept lagi.
Bukan, sebab saya dah auto accept. Macam mana dia tak boleh masuk? Okey, sekejap.
Okay.
Tu masuk dah. Oh, ke sebab saya tengah present. Slide masih nampak kan slide?
Nampak.
Okey. Apa soalannya tadi? What is the question?
Oh, Ari dah angkat dah.
Dah masuk tak? Okay, I know that some of you are having difficulties with the internet connectivity, but it's okay, it's okay. As long as if we just keep interacting through WhatsApp or whatever means, because on the other side too, I cannot troubleshoot. Okay, kalau you punya internet lemah ke ataupun sambungan dia terputus-putus ke, that is normal. And even we ourselves are having that difficulties as well. Jadi bercakap dengan kawan-kawan awak yang mana yang tak boleh masuk tu, you can just post something ataupun through your WhatsApp dan sebagainya, post the question to ni, ataupun later on dia boleh catch up balik. But as long as they understand that we are not discussing the chapter 2, which is the formulating research problem, itu dah cukup. Okay, so saya slide semua dah ada kan?
Dah.
Okay. Okay, like I mentioned to you just now, when we talk about the research problem, okay, it does not necessarily be a problem per se. So don't misunderstood that one. So it can be a problem, it can be a proposition, it can be anything. As long as you feel that it is worth to be studied, okay, so therefore that will actually become one of the research problem or any research problem that you want to actually embark on. Bukan bila kata, sebab kadang-kadang student bila kita kata, okay, I want you to develop a problem statement, I want you to develop a research problem. So they start to go and look into the problem. No, bukan kita nak cari masalah, kita just want to actually explore something, kita nak lebih tahu. You want to know how certain people behave the way they are. You want to know how employees, why employees are lack of motivation. You want to know why company don't perform. Just for the sake of understanding. Okay. So let me continue with the importance of a research problem, formulation of a research problem. Okay. So formulation of a research problem is like the identification of a destination before undertaking a journey. Itu keyword dia. Keyword dia is like identification of a destination. Meaning that when we have already decided on the problem or issue that we want to actually highlight in our study, that will be the focal point. So at the end of the day, that is what we want to know. That is what we want to achieve. That is what we want to understand. Okay, so it will become like an identification of a destination. So that also will help and guide you throughout the research process, throughout the research journey. But considering that you will be doing something which is like in 12 or maybe like 12 or 13 weeks, so it is almost like impossible to actually cut across all the content. So that is why we are not very particular at this level of study. But if you're talking about a master's by research or PhD, yes, we are very much particular and we want you to really dwell into the issue. Okay, so the way you formulate a problem determines almost every step. So why it is so crucial. Okay, so why it is so crucial that we want to really look into the problem statement is that whatever problem or issues that we try to offer in our study will actually dictate the whole research process. Okay, beginning from the study, the research design, okay, continue to the sampling, and then to your instrument, and of course your analysis. Okay, so this problem statement is so crucial because it will dictate every part of your research process. For example, if you have problem A can only be identified by observation. Okay, how do you want to observe that? Okay, if you have problem B can only be measured using certain measurement, using certain instrument, questionnaires. Okay, so that is why the selection or the formation of your problem statement is so important. Jadi kena jelas, bila kita buat permasalahan kajian itu ataupun kita memilih satu masalah atau isu dalam kajian itu, isu itu bukan hanyalah untuk semata-mata menggambarkan tajuk kita saja, tapi dia akan bersangkut paut, berkait rapat dengan content, the whole content ataupun the whole research itself. daripada segi literature-nya, daripada segi research question-nya, daripada segi research objektifnya, sampailah ke metodologinya, samplingnya, sehinggalah kepada analisa yang sesuai untuk data yang kita akan collect. So that is why we are very much particular. But like I mentioned, we are not very much particular during your level, at the degree level, but we are very particular when it comes to master by research or PhD level. All right, these are some examples. Suppose you want to conduct a research study regarding services available to patients with depression living in a community. You know, buat kajian tu, nak melihat tentang depression among the community. So it might be difficult if you want to go for a face-to-face interview. So might be you have to go with an observation approach. You pantau dari jauh saja, you tengok perlakuan, you tengok kejadian dan sebagainya. Okay, but if you're talking about customer satisfaction, then probably questionnaire will be the most what we call suitable method of measuring customer satisfaction. You boleh edar soal selidik, orang menjawab tentang kepuasan atau tidak. Okay, so that is why when we develop that problem statement, we also need to consider the availability of the instrument. So nanti kita tengok. Okay, research ni, another thing is that, okay, you'll be sitting again for research class if you happen to go and further for your master's or maybe your PhD. Okay, and then you might have more other classes on research method. But the unique thing about this particular course, research method, is that you can only understand it well the moment you endure it, you melalui dia. So that is what you'll be doing this semester. So starting from the preparation of your proposals toward the data collection, data analysis, and until the end, your final report, that will actually give you a glance of what is the research process like and how to go about. Okay, beginning from what you're doing now, searching for the relevant factors, okay, and then tie it up to the topic given. And then you start to read the journals, you start to read the articles or maybe books or whatever, okay, in order to develop the substance to your argument. Okay, so that will actually go through a different process, okay, in terms of coming out with the final report later. Okay, so first and foremost is understanding the problem statement itself, the formulation of the problem statement, because problem statement will dictate how the research goes, what process need to be done, what are the measurement, what are the sampling, what are the analysis that will be involved. Okay. Now we continue with the sources of research problems. So basically there are so many sources of research problems. So later on you will see at what level are you. Okay, so these are some of the common sources. So there are other that if you can think of, okay, other than these four. So it's like the 4 P's of marketing, but only that it is more related to research. So the first one, okay, is by looking at people. Okay, you're looking at people, you observe people, and if you look at the what is happening currently in the pandemic of COVID-19, okay, we are talking about impact of COVID-19 on economic, social well-being. We are talking about COVID-19 and the online learning. We are talking about the pandemic and what we call economic condition in Malaysia. So those are the things, okay, by just observing how people react to pandemic, okay. And the next, what we call indicator is by looking at problem itself. Okay, normally when we talk about problem, okay, we are looking at the problem as it exists. So therefore, it is more tied toward an applied research, because applied research tend to come out with a solution towards that problem. Okay, so if you happen to be in a company and you see that the company is experiencing certain problem, for example, you are in a retail company and you see that sales is dropping, so that is how you look at it. Okay, and then by having that data or the statistic in sales, you can actually come up with a research in order to understand why suddenly the sales drop. Okay, the third way is by looking at programs. So whatever program, for example, we are talking about student acceptance toward MGT 648, student satisfaction of learning, MGT 648, what are the factors that contribute to student performance of B8 232 students. Okay, so looking at program, meaning that very specific. Okay, and the last one is by looking at the phenomena. Looking at the phenomena, one of the way that people, or you can look at the phenomena is doing it by reading. Okay, that is what you're doing currently. You are actually downloading the journals, you are downloading past studies in order to understand the phenomena given to you. So the phenomena have already been delivered to you. I already gave to you the topic, the general topic. So now it's time for you to dwell into the phenomena. So in order to do that, you start to download, you start to read, you start to summarize, you start to argument. Okay, all the arguments with regards to past study that you already obtained through the journal system or maybe in the internet. Okay, so that is through the phenomena. So these are the 4 indicators or 4 what we call factors that you can look into when it comes to formulating your research problem. Okay, the first one, people, okay, basically it is under the study of population. Contoh you nak tengok satu komuniti masyarakat ataupun you nak observe satu perkampungan orang asli, cara hidup orang asli, you nak melihat satu industri ataupun bagaimana penduduk di sebuah kampung menjalani kehidupan dia. Okay, and then you nak tengok macam manakah student UiTM menghabiskan masa dia di UiTM. Okay, so these are more towards the study of population. Okay, and we are looking at people. Okay, but it can either be individual, it can either be organization, groups or communities. But the other 3, the problem, the program and the phenomenon are more towards subject area, meaning that it is more specific, it is more clear. Okay, you have a sense of direction, meaning that, for example, if you're doing something on employee performance, you are clear about it, it's part of your, maybe your syllabus or whatever you have learned, or if you're doing something on work-life balance, you're talking about a working environment. So those are the things that is in the subject area, meaning that it's more specific, more specialized. Okay, so problem can either be issue, situation, association, needs, population, composition and profiles or whatever. And program can be content, structure, outcomes, attributes, satisfaction, consumers, providers. And phenomena might come from cause and effect, relationship. Okay, you want to study relationship. So later I show you a diagram so that you can understand the level of testing that is associated with the level of research problem. Okay, consideration in selecting research problem. So yang ini saya dah cakap daripada awal lagi, ingat di dalam kita buat research ni, one of the thing that you need to bear in mind is that okay, you must do something or you must select a topic or a research that is doable, logic, rational. Okay, itu the first thing when you start to engage with research, meaning that whatever that you intend to actually undertake for your study, you have to make sure you boleh buat. Jangan kau beria-ria nak buat satu dunia tapi duduk dekat Masjid Tanah Melaka. Itu tak boleh. Ataupun you nak buat perbandingan antara benua sedangkan you ada masa hanya 13 minggu, mana tak logik. Ataupun tiba-tiba you pelajar BA 232 nak buat kajian kesan radiasi nuklear kepada masyarakat setempat yang bukan bidang you. It must be doable, logical and rational. Okay. Other than that, yes, of course, don't fall in love with yourself lah. Jangan cinta sangat dengan idea sendiri. Don't fall in love with your idea. It might change. Okay. InsyaAllah, if you really undergo the training or the process, you will understand that the more you read, the more you become, not to say stupid, but the lesser knowledge that you have about something. Okay, because knowledge is so huge, so wide. Okay, so if we were talking about consideration in selecting research problem, okay, the first and foremost, of course, most of you will try to actually choose something which is at your interest, yang you minat, yang you faham, you tahu. Okay, macam bila saya bagi tajuk tu, saya rasa you tak adalah rasa macam pelik sangat sebab we have been dealing with the pandemic of COVID-19 ever since March Okay, so therefore it is not something new. But if I were to give you something all of a sudden, okay, that might create more confusion because it is not within your interest. Tapi saya pasti even over social media ke mana-mana ke, you dah baca banyak tentang COVID-19 dan kesan dia dan sebagainya. So it is not a new topic for you. So that is why I think you can actually comprehend, you boleh memahami. Okay, the second one you need to consider is the magnitude. Itu saya cakap tadi, jangan buat research besar sangat di engkau 13 minggu tapi engkau beria-ria nak collect sampel sampai 2-3 ribu orang. Jangan salahkan saya. Cukuplah sekadar kita nak belajar buat research, bukan nak jadi penyelidik. Okay, we are trying to teach you, or we want you to undergo the research process, understanding the research process instead of become researcher. Okay, if you really want to become a researcher, then you might need to take other classes as well. So the magnitude, okay, it's not have be too huge in understanding the research process. But if it happens that some of you might further for your masters or your PhD, then you might consider having a bigger magnitude, meaning that your study is more wide, more what we call the coverage is bigger. Okay, and then of course the measurement of concept. This is very, very crucial because part of the proposal, you need to actually highlight the concept or the definition of whatever items that you decide to actually include in your research. Okay, so therefore you have to really understand, for example, if you have variable A, how to measure variable A, what instrument, what measurement is applicable and suitable to measure certain concept. And the fourth one is you need to consider your level of expertise. So itu yang saya cakap tadi, saya bukan nak awak selesaikan ataupun buat satu research yang bombastik, yang wow, tak. Sekadar memahami macam mana nak buat research, that will be enough for you at this stage. Okay, and remember one thing that I always ask the student, I will always tell the student is that we are not trying to solve the problem of the world. If it happens, then you can just win yourself a Nobel Prize. So you have to be very clear about this because we don't want it to exceed your ability. Okay, so as long as you know how to do research properly, you understand all the process, all the what we call techniques and approach, that will be just sufficient to accommodate you at this level. Okay. Because to gain expertise in research, it might take time, especially when we're talking about our meeting, which is just like 13 or 14 weeks. It's almost impossible actually for you to gain that expertise. So pastikan you boleh buat apa yang you mampu buat saja, bukan orang kata nak berlumba dengan siapa, alright? And then relevance, the study must be relevant. Whatever that you want to study, you want to highlight, you want to research is something that is relevant, useful, meaning that for the betterment of society. The word is for the betterment of society. Okay, selagi dia ada relevance dia, so dia ada nilai dia. Kalau tak relevan, buat apa kita nak kaji lagi, ya? And then availability of data, of course, before that, we need to ensure that we are clear about the sampling, who will be answering our questionnaire, who will be participating in the interview, who will be part of the observation. Okay, so that one is clear. Because why? Because we need to ensure that at the end of the day, whatever topic that we undertook for our study or our research, okay, we can actually have the data that come with it. Tak nak kita buat lepas tu, doktor, saya tak tahu lah macam mana nak cari data ni kat mana. Itu tak nak. Okay, so later on as we go along, like I mentioned to you, okay, research is not something that you can just read and understand. Okay, it is far better off by experiencing, mengalami dia. Okay, so insyaAllah this semester kita akan cuba melalui selok-belok liku-liku menjalankan penyelidikan, walaupun penyelidikan taklah segah ataupun sehebat mana, tapi at least you will learn something. Okay, you will understand the set of protocol that is that underlies behind the research. And of course, the last but not least, you need to also consider the ethical issues. We don't want to violate certain rights. We don't want to violate the privacy. We don't want to engage a minor without the consent. So research is something that is being done in a controlled manner, dalam keadaan terkawal. You tak boleh macam terjah orang sana, terjah orang sini, just for the sake of nak completekan you punya research. Jadi you langgar all this what we call ethics. Okay, and it goes as well, beginning from the first day you work with your proposal till the end of your submission of your report, you always subject to this ethical conduct. Okay, termasuklah daripada segi plagiarism, we will actually call in all the work to be submitted to turn it in for similarity. Kita tak nak you ciplak kerja orang. Kita nak is genuine from you. There is novelty in your work. Tak apa, dari segi bahasa there's another issue. Okay, so that one kita akan combat that one, troubleshoot that later. But as for now, you have to understand whatever materials of reference that you use for your research must be properly given the credit. Okay, maknanya dari segi citationnya yang betul, dari segi penggunaannya betul, bukan main cut and paste sampai habis. Okay, so that is ethics. So a lot of things actually with regards to the ethic itself. Okay. Now we go to the step. Okay, as it goes by having the experience of doing research to understand and to actually better formulate a research problem. Therefore, there are certain steps that is available. But remember, I don't want you to be strictly complying all the steps, because sometimes some of the research you might need to skip several steps depending on the nature of the research itself. Sebab tu saya kata, kalau you baca 100 buku research pun, you belum tentu boleh memahami perjalanan research tu, melainkan you melakukan dia. Okay, so these are the recommended steps. So basically there are 6 steps. Okay, discovering the issues is what you are doing now. Issues have been handed to you. It's now the time for you to actually choose the factor. Okay, and then profiling main issues into sub areas. If you happen to do that, which is better, but I think it's enough for now that you learn to read the journals and to tie it with the topic itself. Okay, and then the third step will be to specify what interests you the most. So therefore, we are looking forward on your, me and myself are looking forward for your first draft of your proposal, just to see what are the factors that you want to actually introduce or propose in the study. And then step 4 is to develop the research question. Okay, so basically this is another set of things that I think you need to clearly understand, because it depends. There are different school of thoughts when it comes to research question. Ada orang kata research question kena banyak. Ada orang kata research question sikit pun cukup. For me, as long as you ada satu research question pun, then it is enough. Okay, if you have 2, it's good. If you have 3, that's better. But if you have more than that, pergi buat PhD. Okay, so just simple saja. Okay, so basically the research question is the question yang kita pose, that we pose, okay, towards answering whatever that we want to understand. So as for now, okay, since you have the issue at hand with regards to the online learning or open distance learning, so that is the issue at hand. You want to know the effectiveness, you want to know the acceptance or whatever, awareness. Okay, so you start to actually develop the question, any question that you want to answer. But before you can develop the question, you need to actually identify the factor that will be part of your study. Okay, that will be included in your study. Okay, so for example, factor A and efficiency, effectiveness of open distance learning, online learning. Okay, so barulah kita boleh pose soalan. Contoh saya kata, saya ada 2 variable A dan B. So saya akan pose soalan contohnya, adakah terdapat hubung kait antara faktor A dan B? Ataupun adakah faktor B mempengaruhi faktor A? Okay, ataupun adakah faktor A dan B mempunyai hubungan yang positif? Itu contoh. That is how you construct a research question. And then of course, once you have identified the research question, then you pose the research objective. So basically, there are so many school of thoughts available. Ada yang kata research question kena sama banyak research objektif. Ada yang kata research question sikit objektif banyak tak apa. Ada yang kata research question kena banyak objektif kena sikit. So as for now, I think we just put it like this. Okay, if you have 2 research question, you have 2 objectives. Senang. You ada 3 research question, 3 research objektif. Settle. Tak payah nak fikir mana banyak, mana sikit, buat pening kepala. But at the end of the day, kita bukan nak selesaikan masalah dunia, we just trying to actually graduate. Okay, and then the last, of course, researchability of your objective. So you must be able to actually ensure that whatever objective that you outline in your research or your study, it can be done. Meaning that you know how to, again, you will know how to collect the literature, how to summarize the literature, how to critique the literature, you know how to measure the data, you know how to analyze the data, and you know how to interpret the data, and then you know how to provide conclusion or recommendation to whatever findings that you might find during your research process. Okay, so that is just what we call suggestion, or what we call the step. Okay, so like I mentioned to you just now, you might have to follow all the steps. Okay, but sometimes you might need to skip some of the steps. Because why? Because the first one, for example, in this stages or steps in formulating research problem, the issue is already there. Issue dah dibagi pada awak. Meaning that we have already agreed to a topic. Jadi awak tak perlu lagi nak discover issue. Jadi awak terus ke step yang kedua. Faham Okay, so yang ini contohnya dia nak buat pasal green supply chain. So dalam kes awak online learning kan. Okay, then you start to profile what is the factors that influencing blah 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 blah, and then you follow the same step. So like I mentioned just now, it does not necessarily have all these 6 steps in your formulating your research problem. Okay, you might need to actually skip some of the steps due to irrelevant with regards to your study. Okay, so itu basicnya dalam formulasi. Macam saya kata tadi, I like to stress again, research problem doesn't mean it has to be a problem per se. It might be a proposition, it might be an observation, it might be an assumption, whatever that you feel need to be studied, need further understanding, need further exploration. So therefore that give you a little bit of authority to actually conduct that particular study. Okay, so the formulation of research objectives, so as I mentioned to you just now, we just put it simple. Nanti banyak school of thought, ada yang kata soalan kena sikit, objektif banyak. Ada kata soalan banyak, objektif sikit. Sekarang kita buat senang cerita. Okay, if you have 2 research question, then you have 2 research objective. Done. 2 dengan 2, settle. Jadi tak payah pakcik pun tak pening kepala, korang pun tak pening kepala. Okay, so objective are actually the goals that you set to attain in your study. For example, you say you want to examine relationship between A and B. So how does this, for example, my question, my question is like this. Is there any relationship between A and B? Itu research question. Is there any relationship between A and B? But my objective will be to examine the relationship between A and B. Dapat?
Dapat.
Kalau soalan saya contohnya, di manakah tempat tinggal Abu? Okay, jadi research objektif saya senang saja. Untuk mengenal pasti di manakah tempat tinggal Abu. Ataupun untuk mengenal pasti tempat tinggal Abu. Jadi bila kita dah mengenal pasti tempat tinggal Abu, jadi kita boleh menjawab soalan tadi. Di manakah Abu tinggal? Dapat?
Dapat, Doktor?
Senang kan? Senang. Okay. This is another school of thought dalam slide ni. Okay, ada main objektif, ada specific objektif. Kau tak payah pecah kepala dia. Kau letak saja semua jadi specific objektif. Kau tak payah nak main sana spesifik sini. Itu zaman-zaman dulu, zaman Fir'aun dulu. Okay, sebelum Fir'aun ditelan laut merah tu, itu main objective specific. Just come out like that. Macam saya kata tadi, di manakah Abu tinggal? Itu soalan dia. Jadi objektif dia untuk mengenal pasti tempat tinggal Abu. Settle. Jadi tak payah untuk mengenal pasti tempat tinggal bla 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 bla. Betul spesifik objektif pula, terutamanya tempat tinggal Abu. Tak payah. Okey. Keluar satu soalan, satu objektif. Dua soalan, dua objektif. Tiga soalan, tiga objektif. Habis. Pakcik happy, korang pun happy. Alright, so this is the characteristic objective. Okay, cuba tengok sini . Yang ini gambar ajar ni sebenarnya sangat penting, tapi I don't know whether you can actually understand it or not. So if you look at the characteristic of the objective, if the objective is just clear, complete and specific, they are normally meant for what we call descriptive study. Descriptive study. Descriptive study is a study that describe a phenomenon. Okay, describe a phenomenon. Hanya describe apa bahasa Malaysia? Menerangkan.
Menerangkan. Describe.
So, sorry saya BM tak fasih sangat.
Ush.
Sebab saya berbesar di Canada, jadi a bit alien jugalah BM ni. Okay, so descriptive study dia hanya clear, complete and specific. Dia lebih kepada descriptive study, meaning that a study that actually describe a phenomenon. Okay, but if you have different variables, meaning that you have the independent variables and dependent variable, nanti kita akan belajar lah. Okay, so basically to identify the main variables to be correlate, kita nak lihat korelasi antara pemboleh ubah itu. So there will be a correlational studies. Nanti saya akan terangkan lagi in detail. Dan if it to the extent, macam saya cakap tadi, adakah sebarang hubungan antara A dan B? Hubungan so itu lebih kepada hypothesis testing studies. So nanti saya akan tunjukkan kepada awak nanti, insyaAllah mungkin dalam selepas break nanti, okay, macam mana kita nak melihat daripada segi deskriptifnya, macam kita nak melihat daripada segi correlational studies ni, dan macam manakah apa dimasukkan dengan hypothesis testing study. So semua itu boleh dilihat dengan jelas daripada segi analisa. So buat masa ni cuma fahamkan situ saja. Kalau clear, complete and specific objective, itu lebih kepada descriptive study. Kalau clear, complete, specific and identify main variables to be correlate, itu lebih kepada correlational study. Tetapi kalau dia clear, complete, specific, identify and of course the relationship, so that will be in hypothesis testing studies. So nanti kita akan belajar sikit tentang hypothesis dan apakah gunanya hypothesis dalam penyelidikan ataupun research. Okay, habis dah kat situ saja. Alhamdulillah, menepati timing dia. Okay, it's open. Any questions? Any questions from the floor?
So far tak ada, Doktor.
Korang janganlah terpegun dek. Saya rasa korang ni sebab terpegun tengok muka saya dalam skrin tu. Saya memang tahu benda tu lama dah. Saya memang lahir dah handsome comel ni memang susah lah. I don't ask for this to happen, but unfortunately it happens. Ada soalan? Tepuk.
Tak ada, Doktor.
Korang lah. Kalau yang apa menyanyi tu apa masuk tu pandai pula kau layan. Okay, from time to time, if you happen to have any question, please let me know. And if you need any assistance with regards to your proposal, also please let me know. Okay, and sorry if I did not actually respond any WhatsApp during the night time. Because kadang-kadang saya tidur awal barulah nak jaga kecantikan ni. Tidur kena cukup barulah comel.
Faham, Doktor.
Okay. Betul, Doktor. Betul-betul.
Ada soalan tak? Ada soalan?
Tak
Belum
ada.
ada ke doktor?
Belum ada lah.
Okay, if you have no question, please make sure you vote on the proposal. So hopefully we can meet again on the next class, which is on Thursday. Okay, so probably we will proceed with chapter 3, which is I think on the literature review. Okay guys, so take care, stay safe. Okay, please follow the SOP
Okay.
and then kisalah kat family.
Okey doktor.
Alright, thank you doktor.
Thank you
Okay,
doktor.
take care, bye-bye,
Thank
Assalamualaikum.
you doktor.
See you next class. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Kak.
Mana kau dengar ke?
Tak live lagi. Kau ni main lah kau.
Aku tengah record tadi yang doktor cakap tu. Masa kelakar, masa aku record dah buat story. Lepas tu aku tengah nak ada caption apa semua tu.
Lepas tu kau live ambil kau live sekali. Aku nak tengok siapa yang tengah tidur ni yang live tak live. Sekali kau.
Bongok lah kau, aku tak tidur juga. Aku tengah ada dekat IG ni.
Dah lagi ada doktor kan?
Ada doktor?
Tak adalah. Tinggal
Tak
kita
ada
berdua.
lah kita pergi kau.
Okay, bye.
Bingung lah kau weh.
Awal.
Ni Lofa nak kahwin.
Ya dah. Lepas tu dia siap keluarkan susu baru tau. Bangga
Dia
tau.
mangga tahu.
Lepas tu si Little Miss Tan cakap, ni susu paling sedap antara
Ah.
empat-empat. Ya Allah, aku macam, nah. Tapi baru jam tahu. Bodoh gila.
Dah ke stok je?
Semalam masa 2 hari lepas ke 3 hari lepas. Sehari sebelum dia launch mangga tu. Aku ambil. Lepas tu tadi stokisnya sibuk. Awak nak tak mangga? Awak nak mangga? Nak restock ke? Cakap, tak apa, tak apa. Takkan nak ambil 2 kotak je. Kau ni.
Next batch.
Takkan ambil 2 kotak je. Tak nak aku. Nantilah next time.
Aku kata tak, aku ambil stok kan daripada hari tu sampai sekarang tak sampai-sampai duk guna pos laju. Lambat gila.
Kau tahu tak siapa tu si stokis aku ni lah. Dia cakap kalau awak ambil 10 karton, saya boleh hantar sampai Muar Pagoh free of charge. Tapi 10 karton tu 60 kotak.
Sampai sekejap Sampai mana dia kata?
Sampai tempat korang lah.
Oh ya ke?
Maksudnya 60 kotak. Gila.
Maksudnya kalau macam dia pergi hantar macam contohnya kau ambil 5 karton, aku ambil 5 karton. Bukan. Maksudnya kau ambil 5 box, Su ambil 5 box, aku dapat ambil 5 box. Dia boleh hantar kat setiap rumah tu lah.
Tapi masalahnya kena 10 karton. 10 karton tu 60 kotak.
Banyak gila.
Kau tak cakap, tak apalah, dia orang dah ada stok dah. Bongok lah. Kesian tau dia. Tapi tu lah mangga tu sedap.
Ya itulah sebab tengok review ni Lofa pun dia ada cakap kan paling mangga ni paling macam itu paling
mantap lah. Bila dia nak kahwin? Dia tunang kan semalam? Semalam.
Tapi Fioris tu macam biasa je aku tengok macam tu.
Handsome lah. Fioris macam Arab-Arab. Kau tahu tak dia orang kan dalam muka Arab kan dua-dua.
Macam tak ada macam tak lah. Tak tahu biasa je. Tapi ada beberapa memang.
Lepas tu nanti muka anak dia orang mesti jadi Arab. Sebab dua-dua macam ada darah Arab kan.
Itulah tapi aku rasa itu bukan family biasa sebab bapak dia pun datuk kan. Bapak lelaki.
Piu
bapak Piu tu datuk.
Harap-harap Piu ni tak macam Piu yang tu lah.
Dia duk yang kahwin beramai lah apa.
Banyak tu. Tak betul lah. Tapi ni harap tak lah.
Dua asal mentang-mentang dah
Kan.
macam Islami nanti nak kahwin 4 lah. Nak
Takut bodoh.
tahu itulah aku
So,
takut.
aku cakap dengan kakak aku semalam. Kakak aku ni buatkan story kan. So, tu cakap harap-harap ni bukan macam view lain. Lepas tu cakap, ni muka baik je. Lepas tu aku cakap lah, yang lain pun muka
Yelah.
baik. Yang curah tu muka baik juga.
Ya kan, tahu pun.
Kau buat apa kau ni?
Inilah tadi aku tengah post dekat IG yang yang doktor ada tanya pasal soalan masa dia senyap macam tak ada kan. Lepas tu doktor cakap, awak ni tengok saya ke apa? Mentang-mentang saya ni comel tahu kan?
Pernah sempat kau ikut Pika.
Apa?
My net, Azlan kau dah siap?
Okay, aku baru siap satu part lagi satu dah siap, dah letak isi poin-poin dia, cuma belum nak kemaskan dia dengan macam dekor dia sikit lah, bagi-bagi dia macam tu sikit.
Kau buat macam mana? Berapa page?
2 je.
2
Baru
page.
siap satu, yang lagi satu tu belum siap nak kemaskan dia. Just baru letak poin je.
Okay, aku nak buat. Aku tak siap lagi. Okay, bye.
Ya juga, konai.
Aku dah submit tapi aku nak submit balik, nak buat baru.
Bingung lah Wadi ni. Lepas tu kan yang MKT kau dah start buat ke duk?
MKT yang mana? Pika bukalah kamera.
Individual tu lah.
Buka kamera.
Anak lah. Bila aku bersesat, anak malu-malu.
Apa MKT yang mana?
Individual.
Belum tu. Kau buat apa?
Aku buat apa?
Aku
buat KFC tu lah.
Oh, KFC. Aku tak perasan kau buat KFC. Aku buat
mula-mula ni mula-mula nak buat tudung tu. Lepas tu anak lah macam tak best pula. Rasa macam memang dia ada website apa semua tu. Tapi macam susah kot. Macam nak kembangkan macam susah kot. So aku ambil tu je lah. KFC tu je lah.
Kau nak kembangkan macam mana?
Kau buat apa?
Kalau KFC kau nak kembangkan macam mana gila?
Yelah macam yang doktor cakap, Kak Madam cakap lah macam ini kan dia nak cakap pasal chapter 2 punya kan consumer variable. Lepas tu kat situ kan macam dia tanya pasal customer tu nanti macam dia pergi tengok kat website tu macam mana dia nak itulah based on chapter 2 tu lah pasal consumer tu kan.
Aku buat Guardian.
Aku buat Guardian.
Aku tak tengok lagi. Tapi itulah selalu aku diki-diki je website dia. Kan aku ambil Guardian tu. Ada tapi itulah seram pula. Semalam kau beli bukan MKT
MKT? Taklah ASM.
Yang semalam tu kau pergi Melaka photostat ke apa?
Tak, aku ambil dekat buku. Aku suruh photostat kan.
Photostat kat aku tau.
Apa?
SM apa?
SM 655.
Tajuk dia?
Sekejap tebal duk buku dia. Tebal gila, RM42.
Security
Management. Kau dah ada kan?
Yelah tu photostat kat aku.
Yelah tu.
Lepas tu okey ke tak? Dia punya tu sebab dah double photostat tu.
Tak tahu, aku pun tak. Okey lah, okey.
Okey.
Baik. Dia jelas.
Masih baik. Okey. So, masa tu
kau pun photostat ke?
Tak, aku masa tu photostat dekat orang kat siapa? Siapa aku tak ingat sini tu sebab aku tak nak beli. Lepas tu dia pun tak nak jual. Lepas tu aku cakap lah boleh tak kau tolong photostat kan Lepas tu photostat lah. Lepas tu aku dah photostat, Su minta kat aku suruh photostat kan pula.
Oh ya ke? Itulah aku minta kat Su. Masa Su kata boleh lah.
Masih baik. Kau ambil satu buku je?
Ya, aku ambil satu buku je. Tak, kan semalam.
MKT tak ada?
Apa?
MKT tak ambil?
MKT tu tak tahu nak beli dekat mana. Macam beli dekat online kan mahal kan, 100 lebih kan buku tu.
Ya, photostat je lah.
Photostat berapa Kau dah
aku dengan
MKT?
Aku cakap kat Kak Nur kan aku bagus. Aku juga dah. Pergilah.
Habis dengan dia masa tu. Dengan dia berapa ringgit?
Masa tu RM44 termasuk postage. Tapi aku rasa 30 lebih je lah kan kalau dapat RM44 termasuk postage.
Oh.
Murah je tu.
Sebab postage kan biasa RM8.
Murah je, baik kau pergi sana je sebab kau dah dekat dah.
Tu lah, tapi tak nak tengok nanti ni macam mana.
Weh, habis tu kau,
Kenapa?
habis tu ke?
Apa?
Kita, apa nama dia ni? Oh, yang aku cakap pasal references tu.
Kenapa?
Macam mana yang untuk resume?
Oh, kau ambil kalau kita ambil bukan lecturer UiTM tak boleh ke? Sebab dulu kan kalau aku perasan, aku dulu buat resume untuk dia apply internship tu kan. Dia ambil cikgu dia masuk fungsi. Dia tak ambil UiTM tu UMS aku dia UMS kan. Dia tak ambil lecturer sana. Tapi tak tahulah sebab kita kan lain campus kan, lain dia kan. So tak tahu. Habis kau ambil siapa?
Tak, kalau kau rasa kalau kau nak ambil, kalau kena ambil medium UiTM kau ambil siapa?
Ambil ni lah Miss Mona kot.
Sebab dia PA kita kan. Tapi kau rasa dia kenal kita?
Dia pun macam tak kenal kita sangat.
Sedih lah, tak kenal kata. Media kenal saya tak? Safa lah. Kena explain banyak kali.
Company tu call. Hello, ni Miss Mona ke? Saya nak tanya, student ni, siapa ni? Saya tak kenal dia. Macam siapa yang dulu tu kan?
Ya, yang Media Hidayah cerita tu.
Media Hidayah.
Dia pakai tak minta izin nama dia.
Habis tu Miss Muna kot, kalau memang kena UiTM aku ambil Miss Muna je kot. Habis tu siapa lagi yang macam
tu dia cakap tu apa nama dia, aku tanya Media Shiva lepas tu dia cakap boleh buat rujukan macam bekas employer lama. Tapi kalau bekas employer lama kita kilang, kita employer kita siapa?
Ya ke kan? Dia cakap macam tu
lagi employer. Tapi kita punya pekerjaan dengan employer tu kita kena letak lah.
Maksudnya macam before ni kita pernah kerja apa, lepas tu kita letak dia macam tu.
Antaranya.
Tak salah nak letak lecturer ke apa kan, sebab reference ni macam orang yang lebih kenal dengan kita macam tu.
Kejap. Cuba kau dengar apa dia cakap. Kejap. Bukan dengar. Kau dengar aku cakap sebab dia ada cek aku masa tu. Kejap. Aku tak faham dia. Bukan tak faham. Tak tahu. Confirm tak dia cakap macam tu. Kejap. Mana kedai Shiba ni? Ni. Kedai Shiba lah. Aku tengah tengok kedai emas lelong tu buka kedai Shiba.
Tengok lah tu.
JB lah. Menjadi-jadi Aurora. Kau pernah dengar Aurora?
Ya, dekat Batu Pahat pun ada kan Aurora tu.
Itu kan dekat BBU yang satu tu, yang first kat BBU.
Dekat dia memang ada banyak cawangan kedai tu.
Lepas tu itu kan sebab tak ada upah kan?
Tak silap aku macam dulu ada macam budak sekolah aku tu jugalah, dia beli masa dekat situ jugalah, katanya macam entahlah, sebab aku hari tu ada tengok-tengok juga masa yang before aku nak tunang ke apa macam Lukman lah yang jumpa, lepas tu dia cakap lah, lepas tu aku tak nak lah, tak apalah, sebab dekat situ dia kata macam kat situ macam murah juga, lepas tu kedai Melayu kan, tak salah aku kan.
Habis tu kenapa tak pergi situ?
Tak nak, lepas tu entah Lukman pergi dengan kakak dia, pergi kedai Melayu, kedai kat tempat lain lah.
Apa nama kedai lah?
Tak ingat, entah dia pergi kat mana tak ingat lah.
Kalau yang dekat JB ni yang famousnya Aurora dengan Anwar, Mas Anwar dekat kota. Tapi Anwar ada upah, dia famous sebab dia 2 tingkat tau Anwar tu. Famous dia. Tapi itulah, ni ada satu lagi kedai baru dekat BBU juga. Harga pun murah, 248.
Kedai apa? Tak ada upah.
Tak ada upah juga. Setakat ni tak ada upah Aurora tau, yang famous. Lepas tu ni ada satu juga dekat BBU juga. Memang bersaing gila dengan Aurora. Lepas tu nama kedai tu kedai.
Tapi kadang-kadang kan kalau dia cakap tak ada upah-upah, kadang-kadang macam dia macam hidden cost tau. Sebenarnya ada tapi dia macam tak cakap macam mana macam kira macam hidden cost lah.
Tapi member aku kan dia kaki emas tu. Dia dah kerja dia kaki emas. So dia macam dia cakap Aurora tu memang kalau dia cakap tak ada upah memang tak ada upah. Lepas tu harga pun memang murah. So memang okey lah kat situ. Lepas tu dia siap buat kad lagi. Lepas tu dia cakap dengan aku, Pika! Pika ni.
Ni.
Bunga kali.
Bukan. Bodoh lah.
Tak rasa tu
Alah, aku tadi ni bersihkan ni Lukman punya laptop ni. Lepas tu sekali aku tekan dekat dia punya button mana tau. Lepas tu macam mana tau boleh terkeluar. Nanti dia termasuk akaun Lukman dah ni. Aduh bodoh lah. So selalu aku masuk aku kena switch account. Lepas tu
Jajak.
ya.
Apa tak? Kejap aku nak cakap pasal Medoshiba pula.
Apa?
Dia cakap ex-employer kalau ada pengalaman kerja ataupun bersyarat untuk verify prestasi di universiti. Boleh letak PA atau mana-mana pensyarah yang you dapat. Dia cakap macam tu.
Maksudnya kena letak pensyarah juga ke macam mana? Cuba kau baca pula.
Dia cakap ex-employer, bekas employer kalau ada pengalaman yang bekerja. Ataupun pensyarah untuk verify prestasi di universiti. Boleh letak PA ataupun awak punya lecturer yang dapat. Dia kata tu.
So kalau macam tu kalau kita nak letak employer pun kalau employer tu tak kenal kita susah juga. Ada kan dia kata ni siapa kan. Memang kita pernah bekerja before ni. Tapi kalau employer tu tak kenal kita nak macam mana. Dia pun macam dia pelik. Ni student mana pula ni lah. Aku tak kenal dia pun. Lain lah kalau memang kita betul rapat dengan dia. Macam dia pun kenal budak ni bagus pandai buat kerja apa semua. Okey lah.
Betul, so aku rasa terpaksa ambil Madam Muna. Miss Muna.
Itulah.
Kita nak Miss Zarina.
Tak nak lah. Miss Zarina takut lah. Rasa Miss Muna okey je kot. Dia macam tahu ini memang student dia kan, PA kan. Sebab kalau Madam Hidayah tu macam yelah sebab budak tu maybe bukan under dia ke PA dia ke apa. Lepas tu memang tak tahu.
Main letak je kan. Aduh. Dah lah aku nak buat main maths. Buatkanlah aku.
Langkah dah buat lagi apa.
Belum aku tak siap lagi.
Habis kau cakap kau dah hantar pasal kau orang ni balik.
Ya sebab satu page je sikit.
Alah tak apalah.
Mana takut lah. Aku seorang satu page. Aku tanya semua orang 5 page lah. 4
Tak
page
ada
lah.
Tak ada ni lah. Dia orang ingat dia orang rajin sangat ke. Biasa dia orang buat 1-2 je.
Syam apa?
Siapa?
Syam.
Kau tanya aku apa? Aku bukannya tanya dia pun.
Dia tahu kau cek-cek dia kan.
Tak ada nak lempang kau kan.
Habis tu siapa yang kau tahu dia dah buat berapa? Kau 2 lagi?
Aku tak tanya siapa-siapa.
Alah takut lah. Tak apalah aku buat baru dah. Bye. Nak buat je.
Tu aku tahu dia semua mesti dah hantar apa?
Kau buat seorang-seorang kat rumah?
Ya, main kerja balik pukul 7 nanti.
Ayo. Kak. Kau tutup pintu bilik tak?
Apa? Apa?
Kau tutup pintu bilik tak?
Tak.
Pintu bilik sebelah?
Pintu bilik sebelah tutup. Gila. Aku jangan tak panggil-panggil kau. Aku lepang kau ni. Bodoh lah.
Aku cakap je aku tanya kau tutup tak.
Pintu lagi 2 bilik aku tutup. Tak nak takut.
Aduh, itulah jangan kosongkan. Letaklah katil bagi dia tidur.
Bodoh lah kau ni. Janganlah bodoh ni kan. Aku lempang kau kan. Aku takut tau.
Aduh, dah pergilah makan ramen kau lagi sana.
Anak, aku dah makan dah.
Hujan-hujan ni makan ramen. Tak hujan sana?
Sana hujan dah hujan
Sana hujan tak?
Sini bau mendung macam gua macam tu.
Dah hujan dah tu? Dah bunyi tu?
Mana tengok tak dengar. Sini baru nak hujan ni. Tapi macam tak tahu jadi ke tak. Tapi macam dah mendung lah. Dah gelap.
Boleh tidur dah Vika?
Tangguh tadi aku dah tidur. Aku tadi lepas sampai makan tu kan. Aku macam malas nak buat kerja. Aku bareng-bareng masa tidur. Masa pukul berapa tu sedang. Pukul 12 kau ke berapa?
Nasib baik. Tadi masa kau cek aku tu kau dah masuk belum?
Dah lah.
Aku tak masuk lagi. Aku tengah mandi ke tu tak. Aku siap mandi. Aku tengok dah dapat attendance yang Google Form dekat group tu ah.
Bengong
Lepas tu
lah.
barulah aku masuk ajar pagi. Aku mandi. Aku mandi lambat tadi pukul 2 lebih. Dekat pukul 2.
Dah sudah lah kau.
Yelah, habis tu kan aku kan alas.
Apa alas?
Malas lah. Tadi pagi bangun pukul 8 lah bengong.
Mari. Kau
Apa?
MKT buat apa kau?
MKT aku buat apa?
Aku buat IG. Siapa buat FB?
Aku buat Shopee.
Siapa buat FB? Aina
Tak tahu Aina ataupun Su lah.
Oh, yelah. Kau dah buat ke Shopee?
Dah.
Oh.
Tapi tu lah. Stok kat korang ada berapa?
Stok. Aku boleh stok. Aku boleh 3 kotak. Tapi tak
Okay,
sampai
nanti
lagi.
cuba tunggu barang semua dah sampai kat korang. Update stok kat aku nak update stok kat Shopee. So nanti kalau macam tapi masing-masing lah kena tu. Masing-masing kena aku just accept order. Aku just submit order macam kalau
Kena post.
korang lah yang post.
Ya, yelah.
Kalau aku punya stok ada lagi aku lah yang post.
Okay. Kalau macam Shopee tu kan ada kalau kita post kan nanti kan kena charge lah kan dekat post tu kan.
Kena charge
Habis
lah.
tu macam mana harga tu nanti macam beza macam mana, maksudnya kita lah yang kena bayarkan post untuk dia.
Alamak. Macam mana?
Sebab yelah biasa kan
Boleh
Shopee
jual lah. Aku rasa kena cuba sekali lah. Siapa-siapa kena beli. Nantilah aku cuba suruh Azhar beli. Nanti aku suruh dia beli.
kenapa kalau kita beli?
Yelah aku nak tengok macam mana proses postage tu ataupun mungkin nanti dia Shopee ada bagi QR code ke apa suruh JNT scan ke. Sebab kan dia orang kan ada bagi diskaun postage kan kalau kat Shopee. Mungkin lah adalah tu cara dia yang kita tak tahu.
Okay.
Sebab kan kata Madam kan tadi Shopee ada third party kan. Nantilah cuba-cuba. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Ciao.
Wait.
Terak.
Kau pergi mandi sana.
Aku dah mandi.
Sudah lah kau. Okay, bye.
Tika.
Dia punya mandi. Tetek dah lama tau.
Mana?
Dekat gambar diri. Betul kau
Potong rambut. Kau tengok ni.
Apa?
Potong rambut.
Mana rambut kau?
Tengoklah.
Ada gambar.
Sekejap. Ni takut.
Tengok.
Tengok ni.
Okey
Sekejap.
lah.
Oh tak ada. Kau tengok ni.
Kenapa? Kau potong rambut kat kedai.
Salah
Mak kau yang potong kan?
Kedai. Dia macam tak layer. Macam tak lawa. Dia tak layer. Kau tahu tak harga dia berapa ringgit?
Berapa?
Potong rambut je RM17. Tengok ni.
Tahu rambutnya tak cantik juga.
Ya, dia tak layer. Kan patutnya bawah dia nipis kan? Dia tak nipis kan?
Kau tak cakap ke kat dia? Macam masa dah siap tu kau tak cakap dengan dia ke? Ni you tak layer pun.
Melayu kak, Melayu. Aku tolong Melayu sekali.
Kau kena cakap ke?
Ika!
Apa? Kau kenapa gila?
Ika sekarang.
Gila ke kau? Kenapa?
Sekarang ni kan record kan?
Sekarang ni apa?
Sekarang tengah record ke?
Ya bodoh. Jap. Tapi aku dah keluar tau tadi. Tapi memang dia ni pula. Bodoh lah.